Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Dan and I'm with Outrun the Neon Sun. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about what the #1 at-home arcade product is. Because let's be honest, it can actually be pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of at-home products now out there that really kind of are begging and demanding for our finances. And if you're anything like me, your finances are tight. And if you're new to this niche, you'll probably know and see that there's a bunch of man-children out there creating drama about really stupid things. So what I want to do right now for you is to have you sit back, relax, and enjoy, and kind of take a look at each one of these companies that are putting out some amazing products and give you the tools necessary to navigate, maybe if you're just starting out. For starters, I want to look at the granddaddy of them all. Now, I'm not just talking about Arcade 1-Up here. I know that's going to get to, I'm going to talk about in a second, but what I'm actually talking about is full-size retro arcades. That's the first thing that I want to talk about because that is still a very viable option that a lot of people kind of pass off. When you look back on your youth and you think about the nostalgia that was driving some of these memories, what is the first thing you think of? For me, it was playing with these arcades. It was standing in front of this massive machine with this huge screen at the time to me and popping in these quarters and being really drawn in by that attract mode and the neon lights and the marquee that was flashing and all these wonderful things. Now, there are so many arcade enthusiasts out there right now, and it's really kind of neat to see. There's a huge resurgence of this. So actually, if you look on eBay, maybe this is like your time to actually get that one arcade that you've always wanted, and you have that in your home, which is really precious to so many of us. But there's also a lot of negatives that come alongside of having these massive arcades in your homes, and that word massive is kind of a clarifier for you, because for me, I have a huge Street Fighter II World Warriors cabinet, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things, most prized possessions that I have. I restored it, and I had a great time doing that. But it weighs so much, and it takes 2 or 3 people to move that thing anywhere in my garage. It's also really finicky, because a lot of the components are old. And so they go out all the time. So I'm constantly having to repair or fix it if something's not working right. But if that's what you love, if you love to tinker with things and if you love to kind of put together the actual controls, those controls are still so viable and they work perfectly. Think about all the years of use that they had, and you get to have those same controls on that CP, the control panel. It's beautiful. The bezel, everything is just gorgeous. It's exactly how you remember it because it is the exact same product. But like I said, this cabinet is huge. This may not be for you. If you don't love tinkering, then I would not go down this road. I would really consider some of the other options that I'm going to be talking about. And the next option actually that I want to mention is the one that most people think of when they think of at-home arcades, and that's Arcade 1-Up. Now, to so many, Arcade 1-Up really hits that sweet spot of nostalgia. Not only because of the size, and the price point isn't insurmountable, it's not crazy. I mean, a retro arcade, really, there are some that are not that expensive, the real ones, but the actual ones that are rarer are $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 for some of these arcades. Arcade 1-Up is that kind of sweet spot where it gives a 3/4 scale cabinet and it's still beautiful. It kind of has all the artwork and it has the controls, and you can stand in front of it and really feel that nostalgia. Now, there's a plethora of options that Arcade 1-Up has given us. I mean, you have games such as Terminator 2, Outrun, and from Dragon's Lair to Dig Dug to Pac-Man, to all manner of games, now Fast and the Furious, and they're potentially putting out Time Crisis, all these games that so many people love. There are so many wonderful options that Arcade 1-Up puts out. However, the controls on these cabinets are not good. No one can say that they are. They work, and for the casual gamer, which is probably most of you guys watching this, they're gonna work totally fine. I've never had to repair any of my arcades, and I've had them for years with tons of people playing them all the time because I have a bunch of kids who come up to my office week in and week out, because being a pastor, I have tons of kids come up here for youth group and for Sunday school, and they absolutely love it, and they're ripping on it all the time, and they've held the test. Having a room full of these arcades really harkens back to that nostalgia of our youth, and it's really quite wonderful to have. I never would have thought that I could have over 20 some odd arcade machines in my office all fitting, and that's the beauty of 3/4 scale, and that's what I love. But there's no denying the fact that the arcade controls are not good. Sometimes the emulation isn't perfect for games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The emulation isn't perfect. When you try to play online, it's not perfect. They do some things and they cut some corners to cut down the costs, and which makes a lot of people upset. But if that isn't you, if you want this kind of experience for nostalgia, this is a great company. What's more, Arcade 1-Up is also putting out pinball cabinets. They've put out like this this infinity game table. They're also going to be putting out the Casinocade later this year. So they're constantly putting out products, and it's something to at least consider as you're building your home arcade. So now I want to get into some of the other companies besides Arcade1Up and the actual retro games themselves, and that's a company called AtGames. AtGames is another great company that really kind of specializes for me in the beginning of pinball, that pinball experience. They have an AtGames Legends Ultimate, which is actually a 2-player cabinet, and you can download these games from the internet, from new games all the time, and they have some retro games like Zookeeper and Rastan, and they have a bunch of other things, but you can also use an actual external drive, put it into your AtGames Legends Ultimate, and you'll play as many games as you want. Really, the sky's the limit. In fact, I just saw someone who has a Sinden light gun and used it for his Operation Wolf on that cabinet. So there's options that AtGames gives you that Arcade1Up cannot compete with. And that's all these different things that you can download from the internet and put it onto your arcade cabinet. So it's really an all-in-one. It's what we would call a multi-cade cabinet. What is really cool also about AtGames Legends is that they have their Legends pinball machine, which is a bigger kind of screen than Arcade1Up has. It's a little bit more expensive on a price point. You can download pinball games on that. You can actually mod it to put as many pinball games as you want, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you have limited room, this is a great option for you to have as many games as possible that you like. Granted, they don't have all the IPs that Arcade1Up has, but there's still some amazingly beautiful games that they have on AtGames for not only the Legends Ultimate, but also the Legends Pinball. So if that's you, seriously consider this. Now fourth, let's talk about Arcade. Arcade is a great company also. It's a smaller company, but they have what I would argue to be one of the highest quality machines that you can get. It's a little bit more expensive, like I said, than an Arcade1Up. That's kind of the standard right now. It's right around $500 for an Arcade1Up, maybe $600. And what the Arcade offers, I think, is really for a gamer, someone who loves to play these games more than anything. It doesn't offer the nostalgic value that Arcade1Up or an actual retro machine will give you, but this is an actual win in my mind because okay, so there's some gripes against Arcade in the fact that you can play most of these games on your Switch console from Nintendo. Most of the games on the Arcade are also found on the Switch. And the Arcade itself makes no qualms about that. But what they do excel in is they're actually making brand new games from old ones. So they're actually redoing games like Robotron and calling it Saturn, where you have spaceships instead of dudes shooting, and it's crazy just like that. Or Wizard of War was now remade into Wizard of Walls, and so they kind of made a 3D version of that. So they're constantly putting games out every single Friday that you can download. Some of them are free. Some of the best games are free that you can download on the Arcade. It's a great experience and a great option. The screen is beautiful and the sound is gorgeous. It's better than any other at-home arcade that I've seen so far. So this, if you want like a multi-cade and you don't have a lot of room, Arcade is a great option. And what is more, before I move on really quick from Arcade, is that they do have the option now with Sinden light gun technology, like their game Operation Wolf. Just like AtGames, Legends has that option. Arcade now is having this option, and they're actually going to be pushing more Sinden light gun games out there so you can download and have more fun with shoot 'em ups. Now fifth, I do want to mention probably, and I'm very biased here, my favorite company, which is New Wave Toys. New Wave Toys goes off of the 3/4 scale and goes to the 1/6 scale. So these are actual cabinets, probably the highest quality, most authentic cabinets that you can buy, but it's in a 1/6 scale. So think of it as like almost a little bit bigger than a foot, maybe a foot and a half for their arcades, but they are absolutely gorgeous. One of the things that I love about New Wave Toys is that they actually put and give their products out to YouTubers to be able to explain and detail and show. So their marketing has actually been doing really good and really strong and pushing that forward. So I'm really interested to see if this is an actual viable option, because New Wave Toys are absolutely gorgeous. They have actually boom boxes where you can hook your Bluetooth up to and play music from your phone. They have these coin machines that aren't necessarily coin machines, but they're all in the 1/6 scale. And these coin machines can charge, and you can plug in all the rest of your New Wave Toys arcades into it. They're also coming out with a Coke machine that holds 2 Coke bottles. I mean, that's crazy. It's so much fun. It's actually a mini refrigerator that they're going to be having. They have Zoltar coming out, which if any of you love Zoltar and the movie Big, you'll know right away. They're just putting out these incredible, faithful renditions of these products. See, they have something called mirroring technology, which a lot of people have that you see on other machines, but not necessarily on an Arcade 1-Up or AtGames or iArcade. What they have is you can actually hook your HDMI cable up to the back of these little 1/6 scale arcades and play it on your television. So in effect, it makes it like a mini console. Plug in your actual controls from Switch or Xbox into your New Wave toys and you can play it through there. And to me, that's just a sweet spot. With games like Q*bert, you have games like Dragon's Lair, Space Ace coming out, Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts, 1942. They've really put out some amazing products. So if room is really an issue for you, but you still want that nostalgic feel and you can have all of them plugged in and they charge and you have the attract modes playing with all the sounds, it really does take you back to that time. And for me, this is really special. Sixth, another company that I want you to kind of think about and consider is something called Quartercades from Numbskull Arcades. Now, this is a company that actually is putting out 1/4 scale cabinets. So these are about 2 feet. Maybe not quite that tall, but a lot of them are very faithful to the actual build of what the cabinets came out with. And they have some great options as well. I've never purchased any of these, so I don't know, but I do know that that's a viable option. And what they're trying to do, I want to know if this at-home community is actually going to embrace them, because I haven't seen too much on these. So it'll be very interesting in the future to see what they continue to put out. I think they're putting out a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cabinet. They're putting out some amazing cabinets too. So this could be an option again if room is an issue. Now, the last company that I want to bring to your attention is, this is the 7th one, and it's Unico. So Unico put out the MVSX Neo Geo cabinet and the SNK, and it's probably the most gorgeous cabinet I own. I'm a little biased, but the power that this cabinet has with 50 Neo Geo games. Now, if you have any nostalgia or any memory of the 80s and 90s, early 90s, you'll know that Neo Geo was super expensive. It was so much fun in the arcades, but if you had to try to get that to be in your home console, you were pretty much wealthy. No one had that. I didn't know anybody who had the Neo Geo, but this console has 50 games of Neo Geo. 50 games, and I call it a console because it's a multicade, and it's a wonderful arcade. The controls themselves are a little bit like the Arcade 1-Up controls. They aren't that great, but they work, and they've worked well throughout the entire years that I've had them. But MVSX is a company that really surprised me. One of my buttons didn't work. I called customer service. Within a week, they sent me out an entire new motherboard to be able to hook everything up to. To me, my hat's off to them. They're doing things right, and this cabinet to me is probably one of my most favorite cabinets I own because I love the Neo Geo line. Now, I can't get that on any of the other cabinets. So if that's something that holds that nostalgic feel and it looks beautiful, as you can tell, this might be something you would consider as you're building your at-home arcade. Really quick, I haven't asked you to subscribe yet, but if you want more content on at-home entertainment in the retro kind of department, think about hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. I'm putting out videos as much as I can to try to do this. We have live shows. There's a lot of good stuff. So if you want more information on this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So given what I just talked about, what's the #1 at-home product that is available right now, in my opinion? Now, that obviously this is just my opinion, but if I had to go and do it all over again, what would I do? What would you do? Given all these 7 companies, 7 examples that I gave you, what is the first one that you would probably purchase? Now, you kind of have to get a litmus test and saying, what is it that is drawing me towards this? Is it the memories of everything? Is it the gameplay? What is it? And for me, the most obvious one is probably, I would start off slow with New Wave toys. Now, that may seem kind of a shocker to many of you. Like I said, the very first cabinet that I would buy would be the one that would bring me the most nostalgia. The way it feels, the way it looks, the memories associated with it. It would harken back to a simpler time when maybe Budweiser wasn't so woke, but that's besides the point. Like I said, I would start with New Wave toys. I do love the company, yes, but what they are putting out is no joke. I absolutely love what they are doing as a company. Like I said, they have mini change machines. They have mini Coke machines. They have mini boom boxes. They have Zoltar. They have so many different options for arcades that I would actually buy these and see if this is something that I really was into. Do I really like the games on them? Do I like the feel of the nostalgia on them? And they aren't that much of a hit to your wallet. They're about $100 to $150 a piece. Now, the change machines are cheaper. The Coke machine might be a little bit more expensive. We don't know yet. It hasn't been released. I know Space Ace is coming out, and they become collector's items. They had a Street Fighter 2 that can no longer be gotten, and it's like $600 or $700 online, sometimes even more. It's more than an actual Arcade 1-Up Street Fighter 2. So to me, this is a company that is obviously has that really authentic feel when it comes to arcades. Each one is lovingly cared for and it's packaged beautifully. It sent it to you and it's going to be perfectly safe. I've gotten around 8 of these and all of the boxes are beautiful. They package them beautifully. Everything is top notch with this company. However, if I looked at these cabinets and I really started to enjoy them, I love the gameplay, but I love the nostalgia, I would actually probably get one from each company that I listed. I would get one from Arcade 1-Up. I would probably personally get Dragon's Lair or maybe a multicade like a Mortal Kombat Deluxe cabinet because you can play it online with your friends. I then would probably get an AtGames Legends Ultimate or a pinball machine. I would get an II Arcade. I would probably get a Quartercade. I would get the MVSX actually probably first more than before those because I love that cabinet. Because these games give you options, or these cabinets give you options for so many different ways to play and games to play. But I wouldn't just stick with one company first. Arcade 1-Up, yes, they're putting out these amazing products, but that isn't it. There are so many other options now that I never even had when I first started collecting these. So if this is your first time, consider first New Wave Toys, at least checking them out. Then I would ask you to consider probably the MVSX Neo Geo cabinet from Unico. It's a great cabinet. They also have a mini version, which is really cheap, that has 40 plus games that you hook up to your TV and 2 people can play on it. That's a great thing. I did a review on my channel. There's also, like I said, the AtGames. They have an AtGames Mini, which is a smaller version. It's a 1-player stand-up 3/4 scale cabinet that is also in the AtGames line. That's beautiful. They have a mini pinball one that's actually really small as well. It kind of looks like the top is basically like an iPad. It kind of looks like maybe a little bit bigger. So there are options there with each company. II Arcade has the basic version. They have a gold standard version. I think they have an upgraded one beyond that, and they have actual artwork on it that you can buy and you can specialize. So these cabinets are beautiful, and we have really nothing to complain about other than the fact that my encouragement to you is that you would give each one of these companies a try after you kind of get invested in the fact that this is a realm that you want to do, because this is a bottomless pit. Every single one of us who gets into this realizes, oh my gosh, what I could have in my home is a piece of history and nostalgia, and it can drive you nuts, so be careful. Anyways, if you enjoyed any of this content, like I said, please like and subscribe. Always and always keep outrunning that neon sun in your life. Thanks for watching, you guys. God bless. No drama. We'll see you guys later. Take care.